Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Today I'm going to talk all about my February plans. Not just the books I plan to read, but also a little bit of, just things I got going on for the channel. So January actually was really good for me. I think I may have figured out a format that might kind of rein in some of my chaos and let me stay focused on some things, but also feel like I have freedom with other things. Because for me, I've got to be having fun and I got to feel like I have some wiggle room and freedom. And I think I may have figured something out. So stay tuned for that. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the channel. So last week I did hit 2,000 subscribers for the channel, and that was an awesome thing. Thank you guys so much. When I think back to why I started this channel, why I turned the camera around for the first time and decided to upload something, it's actually hilarious to me that I actually even have any subscribers right now, much less 2,000. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and tuning in and watching my videos. This is fun for me, and you guys and your support and the reception that I have received is honestly what makes it so fun. So thank you guys so much. Now, I would love to see this channel grow. I do it for fun. I do it as a hobby, but it's also cool to me to see that people are actually enjoying the content I make. Like, for a long time, I just assumed that most of my subscribers were just friends and people who liked me and wanted to be supportive, and then like people who subscribed to my channel because of bigger channels that would host me, like of course Mike's book reviews. So I just figured, I'm making videos, people are nice. But I'm getting more and more people that are coming out of the woodwork that are not referred to me from bigger channels that just like my videos. And that to me is like crazy, because anyway, I just didn't think we had anything too cool going on here. But I have people telling me they actually like my videos. That makes me feel amazing. So I want to try something, and my goal for February is to upload 2 videos a week. Now that may not sound like much of a feat, but I highly struggle with consistency. I don't struggle with ideas. I don't struggle with coming up with things to say. I don't even struggle with having enough time, because let's be honest, I'm not working right now at a traditional job setting, so I do have time during the day. I just struggle with consistency. So I am challenging myself, a personal goal, 2 videos a week for the month of February. So I really hope that this video ages well, and I look back in March and I'm super proud of what we did here on the channel. But all of this to say, thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to try to do my part and actually put out consistent content, because you guys are telling me you like my videos, and that is just so humbling and just makes me feel awesome. So thank you all. All right, so let's get into the books I am planning to read for February. So I mentioned a little bit of a format. It's nothing crazy, but basically I have a very short, small stack of books that I 100% have to get to. Now, I have to get to them because I want to. I'm not reading a single thing that I don't want to read. Let me just preface with that. But these are things that I've agreed to read with other people, or things that I have told myself I'm going to do a reread, and it's one a month. But it's a short stack. So even if it starts to feel like an obligation, which again, I don't think it will, because these are all very exciting for me, but it's a short stack. I'm going to read these books no matter what. And then the rest of them, oh my gosh, I have so much, freedom and leeway there that it's just going to be flexible and fun. So first and foremost, I am doing the reread read-along over on Mike's Discord with Mike's book reviews. We're calling it a reread just because it's kind of funny, and a lot of us are doing this as a reread. But it's for anybody and everybody. So if the Red Rising series is brand new to you, you are not too late to jump in. We're doing 1 book a month. This is month 2, Golden Sun. Book 1 is a very quick, easy read. And I don't mean that just like it was quick and easy for me. It is a short book, and it's very fast-paced and easy to read. So if you're at all interested in the series, my recommendation for you is to check out the first 2 books. I do like Red Rising book 1, but there is a major shift between book 1 and book 2. If you read book 1 and you're just kind of like, it was okay, or you liked it a little bit, or you liked it a lot, definitely read book 2. Because if you loved book 1, it might throw you off that book 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are so different. But if you were iffy on book 1, don't lose hope, because books 2, 3, 4, and 5 and so on are very, very different. I am one that I happened to like both, but I like where this one goes and where it continues way more than I did like book 1. So book 1 was good, book 2 and 3, awesome. And I haven't read books 4 and 5, so that's going to be a first time read for me. I've only read the original 3, so when we get to months 4 and 5, that's going to be first time for me. So I'm very excited about this. I also don't expect this to take very many days because it's also not very long. But the way Pierce Brown writes these books, they are so consumable. They're well paced, they're action packed, and they're easy to just gobble up. So if you're at all interested, please don't think you're too late because we're already into book 2. You have time to catch up, and it's so fun. It's a great sci-fi series for fans of fantasy. You're going to like it. I have a feeling, so please join us. Another book that's locked in for February is going to be Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So this is something I'm kind of doing with a couple of friends, but it's definitely not like an organized buddy read. Basically, towards the end of last year, a bunch of us were just kind of like, I have not read Harry Potter in so long. And it's very, very special to me. It has a lot of nostalgic weight. I remember loving these books, but I would like to read them again, not only as an adult, but after having like all of this under my belt, like does it hold up? So I am planning to completely revamp my favorite fantasy series top 10 list, maybe by this summer, but I want to reread a few things, and Harry Potter is one of them. So I'm planning roughly a book a month. I read book 1, Chamber of Secrets. No, wait. Sorcerer's Stone. This is book 2. I read book 1, the Sorcerer's Stone, last month and had a really good time with it. Wasn't disappointed at all. So I expect this one to hold up as well. Very excited to get back to Harry Potter. Something else I'm doing as a part of a buddy read are these Arthurian legend books by Giles Christian. This is book 2, Camelot. We read book 1, Lancelot, in January, and I'm going to talk more about that and my feelings on Lancelot in my January wrap-up video that I'll probably post next week. But after a little bit of going back and forth, I did decide to continue with the series and read Camelot. I am very interested in the Arthurian legend. I know I'm kind of like late to the party on that, but we all know how much I enjoyed the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell last year. And then since then, I've been doing like listening to some podcasts, watching documentaries, and like reading more stuff about the Arthurian legend, and I'm very, very interested in it. And so Lancelot was really, really, really good for me in a lot of ways, and then it kind of was a miss for me in some ways. So I was a little bit like, am I going to continue with that? But I think I will, because I want more of the Arthurian legend. And so if you want more, and you have more right there in your lap, I think you should go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up Camelot. I think he's planning another book in that series, but right now there's only the 2 books that are released. So that was another easy one to say yes to. Like when someone says, do you want to buddy read a series with me? And it's like 10 books. It's kind of like, okay, I do, but let me think about it. But when they say, do you want to read this with me? It's 2 books. Like that's a lot easier to say yes. So I am looking forward to Camelot to kind of see if it trends the same way as Lancelot or if I like it more, like it less. But as far as I know, this is a book about Galahad, who is Lancelot's son. So I'm very curious about that one and excited to get to it. And the last book that is in my locked-in, must-read, buddy read, for sure pile is Royal Assassin. And this is book 2 of the Farseer trilogy, which is the first series in Realm of the Elderlings. Now, I have committed to rereading Farseer. I believe if I know myself and I follow my inner voice, I will probably end up rereading one Realm of the Elderlings book per month until I just finish it all. And then after I read all 16, I'm sure I'll just start it again. Because I just see my life in general trending this way. Like, I can't see myself ever not being in the middle of another Realm of the Elderlings reread, because I'm obsessed with it. But right now, I don't want to lock myself into too many rereads or too many one-a-month commitments. So right now, I am only committed to rereading Farseer, but oh my gosh, am I looking forward to it. I reread Farseer in January, and it was everything I expected and hoped the reread would be. After I finished that series, I immediately was like, that was the best thing I've ever read. It was perfect and amazing in every way, but I already know that on a reread, it's going to be even that much better. And Farseer, the second time around, Farseer is a series. What is that book called? Assassin's Apprentice. Assassin's Apprentice, the second time around, sure enough. I gleaned so much more for it. Everything had so much more weight, was so much more meaningful. I loved every second of it, so I am so excited to get to this one. Next up, I have a couple of books off of my 17 standalones that I made it my goal to read in 2023. So no permanent timeline there, but I do want to read, a couple of them here and there because I've got 17 to read in 12 months. So there is a big read-along going on over at the Grimoire Discord, and there's a bunch of people reading Shogun. And since it is such a huge book, and since there's so many people taking place in this read-along, and so many of us are booktubers and we have schedules and stuff, we did decide to spread this out over 2 or 3 months and just say, here's the channel, here's a conversation that's going. Everybody read this and just pop in and kind of like go at your own speed and let us know what you're thinking. So I am about 230 pages into Shogun, and I am really, really enjoying it. I am struggling a little bit with places and names and differentiating a few things, and I think it's because I'm spreading it out. I think this might be a book that I do better once I give it my full attention. So the idea of snacking on it and just having little nibbles here and there was so intriguing to me. I was like, yes, like take a big book. You're not like feeling pressured to finish it in 1 month. You're just gonna like have these little snack sized bites and it's gonna be awesome. I don't think that's gonna work for me. I'm enjoying it, but if I take a couple days in between reading it, I feel like I have to really reacclimate myself with, okay, who's who and what do they call this person? So I think when I do go back to Shogun, I'm going to have to like give it all my attention. So I don't know if that's going to be in February or not, but I will say that I have started it. I'm about 230 pages in, and I do like it. I just think that when I get back to it, I have to give it all my attention. I'm not a snacker when it comes to books. I think I'm a binger. This is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I feel like this book is practically a meme on my channel now because I've been saying I was going to read it since July of 2022, and I'm just now getting to it. But I did add this to my list of 17 standalones, and my friend Selena, who is one of my oldest, dearest friends from high school, she set herself a personal goal this year that she wants to read a book a month, and so she asked me if I would like to read this with her because this is the type of book and the genre that she's interested in, and this was already one that was on my radar and I was interested in after it was highly recommended to me by our friend Ashley from Mike's Discord, also my own mother. I was like, I'll definitely read this with you. So I've already started. I'm about 80 pages in, and I'm hooked. I love the premise of this book. I love the writing style. I'm very into it. Selena, like I said, she's just now getting back into reading as a feature hobby, which I love. Like, I feel like that's the whole point, is bringing more people into your circle and having more people to talk to about books. But anyway, she clearly does not read at my pace because, like, this is not the expectation. Most people have way more to do during the day and don't obsessively read. Like, most people have other hobbies. They watch movies, they watch TV, they do stuff with their family. I'm a little bit tunnel visioned here. So she asked to set a pace for, I think we're going to meet back in about 2 weeks to talk about it. So this is another one that I'm tempted to binge it because that is kind of how I prefer to read, and I want to binge it because it's really good. But because I'm trying to do a little book club with her, I think I'm going to pace that one out a little bit, unless I just can't. But either way, that one is happening this month, and I'm very excited to chat with my old bestie, Selena, about it. So this next group is what I'm calling my big stack of maybes. And I am so excited, not only about these books, but about this concept of the maybes, because these are all for sure happening. And I know that I can get these books read. What's left is just nothing but possibilities, okay? So as of now, I look at this stack and I think, oh yeah, I'm gonna read those. These are all books that I'm very excited about, and I have full intentions of getting to them because they sound so good. But I don't know how I'm gonna feel in 3 days or 2 weeks. So everything on this stack right here is totally fluid. Do I intend to read them? Absolutely. Am I gonna hold it against myself or feel bad if I don't? If I completely change my mind and none of this happens, that's fine too. So let's get started. In January, I read The Justice of Kings, and I loved it. Like, I will talk to you guys more about The Justice of Kings when I do my January wrap up, but I loved it. Like, I definitely see this becoming like a big deal in my life, like a series that I'm obsessed with, that I recommend to people, that I can't stop talking about. There's so much good about it. Again, it was a book one. It kind of was setting a bunch of stuff up, but I'm very excited about where the series is going. So, Tyranny of Faith, I don't have it yet because it's not released. I am trying to stop myself from spending so much money and buying so many books, and that would be the only reason I don't read Tyranny of Faith in February, is if I just, I let my prudent side take over and say, girl, you have a birthday coming up, like, don't buy yourself any books right now. Maybe I'll wait, but I really want to get to it right away. So Tyranny of Faith is a fingers crossed maybe. I really want to read it on release day. So I might have to call my library and see if they have anything cooking. Like, I don't know. But I'm trying not to spend money, but at the same time, I really want to read that book. This next one, literally the exact same scenario. This was A Touch of Light by Thiago Abdalla, and I read it in January and I really, really liked it. Now, this was not a perfect book. I have some criticisms. I have some curiosities. I have some thoughts. I will talk more about this in January, but the point is, I liked the book enough that I really, really want to read book 2 in February, hopefully on release day. Again, trying not to be so irresponsible, trying to save some money. It's hard to justify all these new purchases when you literally have an entire room full of books and about half of them you haven't even read yet. So, I'm trying to be responsible, but at the same time, I want to be on the hype trains, and I'm very hyped about these books. So, if I know myself, I'm probably just going to figure out a way to get those books and read them, if not on, then close to release day, because those are exciting for me, and I really enjoyed both of them, and I'd love to support the authors and just, be a part of. There's just something kind of exciting about a release day read, when you and a bunch of other people are like, my book is here, and I'm going to start it. I love being a part of that, so I imagine I'll probably just find a way to make that happen. This one was totally nowhere even near my radar, but a few people that I love and trust, they recommended this to me. So this is book 2 right here. This is The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. This is book 2, The Magician. The author is Michael Scott. Not the same guy you're thinking of, but Michael Scott is his name. So a few weeks ago, I was driving my kids home from school, and we carpool with my nieces. And my 13-year-old niece said, have you read these books? She got a box set of the first 3 books for Christmas and became obsessed. Read them as fast as she could, and she can't stop talking about them. She's excited. She wants other people to be excited. And I latched onto that excitement because I remember being her age and reading books that just shook my foundation, rocked my world, blew my mind, and nobody would listen to me. My mom would. My mom was always very good about supporting reading because she was a reader and she wasn't afraid to read middle grade. When I was reading Harry Potter, my mom was excited and reading Harry Potter too. And I appreciated having a grown-up take my enthusiasm seriously. And I wanted to do the same for her. And so I listened to her recommendations. I caught on to her excitement and I was like, I gotta check it out. So I got book 1 on audio. I borrowed it from the library and I listened to it in 2 days, and she was right. It was very, very good. So these books are middle grade, but as an adult, I thoroughly enjoyed them. So basically, I don't want to get too much into it because I think it's kind of fun to figure it out as you go. But if you are familiar at all, Nicholas Flamel is an actual historical figure. He was an alchemist in the 1400s or 1500s or something. And this is basically saying that he is immortal, and it's the same man that's been living all this time, and he has access to this secret book that has the, secret of immortality, as well as lots and lots of other magic that he has access to. And he gets into a really sticky situation where a bad guy gets the book but doesn't get all of it. So he has something this bad guy wants. So this bad guy is chasing him down, but who is with him other than 2 unsuspecting kids? So I don't know. I'm probably not doing a very good job of selling it. But anyway, I was all excited about this. I read it. I listen to it, and then all of a sudden I realized these are the same books that my friend Caitlin has been talking about. Sure enough, my other friend Caitlin, who is about my age, who's also a mom, grown-ups, has been reading these and really, really liking them. But, I get so many recommendations. We have all these channels where it's what are you reading? Rate your reads, all that kind of stuff. So I see a lot of recommendations day after day. But as soon as I read this, I was like, these are the books that Caitlin has been talking about. So her and I synced up. We talked about them some more, and her just being the best, she sent me that little box set, the first 3 books. So I am totally set to keep reading these. Again, it's on the maybe list, not because I didn't like it or because it wasn't good, but just because that's the type of books these are. These are just absolutely refreshing palate cleansers. I don't want to make the Dresden comparison too lightly because it could throw some people off, but to me it does feel like somewhere in between, like Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, and then Dresden Files. And the reason I say Dresden Files is because I can see how these would feel episodic, like a Dresden Files book. I can see that they're building towards a bigger story, like a Dresden Files story arc. But the biggest thing that makes me make the Dresden Files comparison is that it feels like it could be in the exact same world. And if you know Dresden Files, then you understand what I'm saying. There's so much magic, but it's all like under the surface, and there's a good reason for it. And it's modern day, it's real, but at the same time, underneath, there's this whole other world of like fae and demons and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's a great, if you graduated from Harry Potter or something like that, and you're maybe not quite ready for Dresden Files, or if you've already read Dresden Files and you're just looking for something else, this to me is like fits really well in the in-between spot. So I hope that makes sense. I enjoyed the first one, and from what I understand, they just keep getting better and better. Super enjoyable, fun little reads. So thank you, Caitlin, for sending those to me, and thank you to my niece Eleanor for recommending them to me. In January, I read Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I couldn't put it down. I thought it was so good. And I didn't completely realize, like, now that I realize it, I think I remember being told this, but I didn't realize that Gerald's Game and Dolores Claiborne were basically companion novels. Like, there are some very heavy references to this book. Now, I haven't read this book, but the reason I caught the references and knew that it was a Gerald's Game companion novel is because I have seen the movie Gerald's Game. So I really, really liked the movie. I thought it was the exact type of scary that I like. And I have a feeling that the book is going to be even better because that's just kind of the way it goes. So I have a feeling it's a really, really good adaptation, but now I just have to know for myself by reading the book. So it's in the maybe stack. Again, as of now, I don't see myself not reading this because I'm very excited about it, but you know, you never know what's going to happen with the maybe stack. And the last thing in the maybe stack for February is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. So I have read this before. I've read it several times before, but I haven't read it in probably 15 years, maybe 12 or so. It's been a very, very long time. I've probably seen the movie trilogy, I don't know, 15 times since then at least. But I haven't read the books in a very long time. And like I mentioned earlier, I do have plans to completely revamp and update my top 10 fantasy series of all times list. And in order for that to happen, there are some things I need to reread, and Lord of the Rings is going to be one of them. I don't see it not making the list, of course, but I feel like for a long time it was expected that Lord of the Rings had to default your number one spot if you were like a serious fantasy fan. And I'm a serious fantasy fan. I have so much love for Lord of the Rings, but I don't know that it is number one, and so I need to reread it so I can accurately place it on my updated top 10 list. So I want to read that. Is it going to happen this month? I'm not completely sure, because with this book, I would like to read it like one book. I do not prefer to read it like a trilogy. I prefer to read it as one big book. So I have a lot of stuff picked out here. I don't know if I'm going to get to this mammoth, because when you read them all together, it is quite long. But I would love to get to that. But it is a short month. So if I don't make it to Lord of the Rings in February, then I hopefully will read it in March. But that's why it's called the Maybe Pile. Thank you guys so much, as always, for stopping in and checking out my video. If you're planning to read any of this in February, hop in the comments and let me know. And I'd love to sync up with you guys. If I've agreed to read something with you in February and I completely forgot about it and it's not on the list, you get with me so I can put it in that first stack of things I've committed to. Also, like I mentioned in the beginning, I've got lots of videos planned for February. I've got some tags. I hope to do a couple book reviews. But if there's any requests you have or any videos that you've seen being made out there that you would like for me to do a version of, drop it below. Let's see what we can come up with, because hopefully this 2 videos a week thing is going to stick. So let me know what kind of content you guys would like to see, and thank you for always sticking around. Love you guys.